Hey everybody, this is our lesson on forces and friction tonight. So you should be able to, by the end of this lesson, classify frictional forces into one of the four types that we'll look at, which are static, sliding, rolling, and fluid. So first, let's just make sure we understand and can describe what force is. And it's defined as some amount of energy, pressure, weight, whatever it might be, placed on an object. So it can cause a resting object to move, or it can cause an object that's already moving to move faster by changing its speed or direction. Forces are very easy to measure, and they are measured in what are called newtons, which is a capital N would be your unit there. Make sure you remember you've got to be putting units on everything. So a newton is defined as the force that causes 1 kilogram mass to accelerate at a rate of 1 meter per second. And you can combine force arrows to show the result of combined forces in general. So like if they're in the same direction, just like we did with displacement, if the arrows are pointing in the same direction, then you add those forces together for an overall net force. If they're in opposite directions, you'll subtract them. And then net force is the overall force acting on an object after all of them are combined, whether that be addition or subtraction. When forces on an object are balanced, the net force is 0 and there should be no change in the object's motion. So that means if it wasn't moving at the beginning, it's still not moving. Or if it was moving, the acceleration has not changed. And when an unbalanced force acts on the object, that's when the object will accelerate. So now let's talk about friction. And friction is defined as the force that opposes the motion of an object that touches as they move past each other. So just like in this little GIF over here, have you ever pushed something across a floor and it's really difficult to move? But then if you put it on something with wheels, it's much easier to move. Or try to push a couch across carpet versus a couch across hardwood. All of that force that's counteracting your force that you're applying to the couch is known as friction. There are four main types, and these are static, sliding, rolling, and fluid. So static friction is defined as the friction force that acts on an object that is not moving. So static, we think of still. Static means still. This type always acts in the direction opposite of the applied force. So if you see, let me exit my picture here just for this GIF as an example. So the force required to overcome the friction at an instant an object starts moving is to overcome that static friction. So to make an object start moving from when it is still is overcoming the static friction. We also have sliding friction. And sliding friction is the force that opposes the direction an object is moving as it slides over a surface. So when you are, pushing a couch over carpet, you're pushing the couch in one direction, and there is a sliding friction that is opposing that force. And if you're stronger, you're able to move the object across the floor. If the sliding friction is stronger, then you won't be able to move it. Since sliding friction is less than static, so it is not as strong as static, less force is needed to keep an object moving than to start moving. So once you get one going, if you've ever noticed, it's easy to keep it going. It's a matter of getting started first. So our next one is rolling friction, and this is the friction force that acts on rolling objects. So think of things with wheels. In some cases, your rolling friction is about 100 to 1,000 times less than sliding or static. That's why when you're moving something, a lot of times you put it on a dolly that has wheels, and it's super easy to move at that point. Professional movers often use wheeled dollies to move heavy objects, like we just said, because that's going to allow things to move much easier with a lot less force applied. And then our last one is fluid friction, and this opposes the motion of an object through fluid. So the example here is like stirring cake batter. So if you've ever you've actually put force in to stir some sort of batter, it feels like something's kind of pushing against you as you're applying that force. That's fluid friction. If you ever go and try to go in a shallow end of a pool and you ever try to run laps in the shallow end of the pool, it's a lot of force coming back on you, which is why that's such a good exercise, because the fluid friction pushing against you as you try to move makes you put more force in. Then if you get a good current going to where you're moving pretty quickly and you switch direction, it's even more force you have to apply. Fluid friction will increase as the speed of the object moving through the fluid increases. So it will become harder as that fluid is moving. And this friction acts on an object moving through air. If the air is the fluid you're considering, that's known as air resistance. Smoother surfaces can help decrease air resistance. So think about like parachutes. When you hear like aerodynamics, so the shape of plane wings or the shape of certain cars is to help decrease air resistance because it's a smooth surface as opposed to a boxy surface where you're going to hit flat areas as opposed to being able to just slide over. So hopefully this was easy for you to see and you can feel good about going over these and knowing your 4 types of friction and being able to define each one.